The political leader of Hamas, Ismail Haniyeh, has been killed in Tehran. Iran's Revolutionary Guards said he was assassinated at his residence in the Iranian capital, and the cause of his death, well, it's under investigation. Hamas had said Haniyeh was killed alongside one of his bodyguards. Well, let's go straight to our international correspondent, John Sparks. Very good morning to you, John. Just bring viewers up to date on what's been happening in the last few hours, if you may.
Yes, good morning. Well, the Iranians have announced that Haniyeh has been killed. Haniyeh was in Iran for the inauguration of the new Iranian president. He was there with the leaders of the other Iran-backed groups. For example, Hezbollah, the Houthis in Yemen, they were all there for the inauguration of the Iranian president. The Iranian Revolutionary Guard have released a statement confirming the death of Haniyeh. They say they're investigating it, but they don't know how it happened. I think that we can, certainly most people will look to Israel, who have a history of high-profile assassinations like this. I think that is certainly where most analysts will cast their eyes. It's a bold move. It is a massive escalation. I think it really changes the parameters in the conflict, which we have been covering since last October, since the war broke out in Gaza. The war so far has been localized really to Gaza, to the Lebanese border as well. And now we've had the targeting of two senior leaders of Iran-backed groups in the last 24 hours. The Israelis have also gone after, last night, a senior leader in Hezbollah called Fuad Shaka, a senior commander from Hezbollah. Tell you a little bit about Haniyeh. He is really the leader of Hamas. Tough talking. He was the negotiator in the Gaza ceasefire talks that have been going on for months. I think you have to ask, now that he's died, where does that leave the ceasefire talks? Where does that leave the negotiations for the hostages? Now that the main negotiator for Hamas has been killed, he's been assassinated. He has been living in Qatar, I believe, since 2017, running Hamas, essentially fundraising for it. He's an absolutely key figure. He lost 3 of his adult sons in an airstrike in April in Gaza, and he was defiant then. He said he was prepared to make all the sacrifices necessary. So this is a major escalation, very unpredictable, I think, to see where the situation heads next.
OK, John, thank you very much for that update for now. We'll leave it there. We're going to cross live now to our special correspondent, Alex Crawford. She joins us from Beirut. Alex, great to see you this morning. Could you give us just some context of where this leads us now? John was talking about ceasefire talks, where that leads the war in Gaza too. Just give us a bit of context.
Well, I think it's, as John says, this is absolutely huge news. It's definitely not what people in Lebanon, the politicians and the diplomats were led to believe was going to be a limited attack by Israel. I was speaking to the Lebanese foreign minister just a couple of days ago. I was speaking to key former generals and key people who are involved in the talks or the negotiations to try and urge people to exercise maximum restraint, including the UN. And certainly the Lebanon foreign minister said he was absolutely shocked that Israel has chosen to hit first Beirut last night and then another capital in Iran with this latest assassination. It is going to really affect the region. I think we're now in a completely different territory. The axis of resistance, of which Iran is the head of, this is how they describe it, the axis of resistance, has arms all over this area, Hezbollah being one of the strongest, but also we've got the Houthis in Yemen, we've got a militia group in Iraq, and Syria, and there's likely to be quite a fierce response from them. The targeted, what Israel described as the targeted assassination inside Beirut, in the capital, last night, and then just 12 hours later or so, another attack in Tehran. These are key people, particularly Ismail Haniyeh. He travelled around the region, including to Turkey. He was visiting Turkish officials, the Turkish president, a few months ago, if not more recently, and filmed and photographed doing that. So he was also considered a very moderate leader for Hamas. He had survived previous assassination attempts, and he was very much involved in the negotiations. So where that leaves it, they may take some time to find other people who can lead that negotiation, but his Hamas colleagues that he leaves behind in Gaza are definitely considered much more extreme, and one definitely has to fear for the future of the around about 80 Israeli hostages who are still believed to be alive in Gaza, and what the future holds for them there, or indeed any ceasefire negotiations. I mean, they will be put on very much on hold right now, because Hamas has already issued a statement saying they're absolutely furious about this. Hezbollah, there are lots of negotiations with Hezbollah here in Lebanon. We know behind backdoor overnight since last night's targeted assassination, for which, just remember, the Lebanese Ministry of Health says many civilians were also wounded. According to the Lebanese Ministry of Health, more than 70 civilians were also wounded. The area that was targeted is a very heavily built-up area, but it is in what's considered a Hezbollah stronghold, but it's an extremely built-up and populated area. It was in between, the actual block of flats was in between a hospital, a medical centre, a whole rows of shops, and according to the Lebanese Ministry of Health, there were at least 2 children and a woman also killed. And so far, we haven't had any confirmation that Hezbollah commander has actually died. That's from Hezbollah, although obviously Israel and the IDF are considering it, calling their operation a success. And the very strong message that seems to be coming from Israel is that Hamas leaders are not going to be able to travel around the world, or they're not safe wherever they are, because they've hit right at the heart of Iran. And likewise, in Lebanon and other neighbouring countries, those who are allied with Hamas are also not safe.